MAGA Republican cultist and candidate for Senate in Arizona, Kari Lake, was publicly humiliated by Donald Trump and the Trump campaign during a campaign rally that we have to talk about. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, this is really funny. Like, you'll probably burst out laughing if you haven't heard of it yet, so I'm excited to share it with you. But before I get to it, I actually want to give you a clip of Donald Trump basically roping somebody off stage. And this is very relevant to what he does to Kari Lake. So Donald Trump was at a rally and he gave the floor to a Republican veteran police officer, who supports Trump, supports Republicans. And he basically gave the lectern to this guy. But apparently the guy took way too long to deliver his speech. And so Donald Trump leans in and basically tells him to wrap it up in front of the cameras, clearly throwing the officer who supports him off. It's so funny, and it also sets the stage, pun intended, for what I'm about to show you with Kari Lake.
Flowing into this country at an alarming rate, with only 5% being intercepted at the border. Okay. You got it. Folks, let me finish up here, please.
let me finish. And Trump's like, no, I'm not going to let you finish. You got to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Okay, let's go. So funny, and flusters the officer up there supporting him enough that he's like shuffling his papers. Okay. But you can see how annoyed Trump is. Well, that annoyance also played a role with Kari Lake, MAGA Republican cultist, one of the most prominent MAGA cultists in existence. She ran for governor of Arizona in 2020, lost to Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, and then announced her candidacy for the United States Senate as well. She lost that race, or maybe her Arizona gubernatorial race was 2022. I can't remember, but she ran for governor of Arizona. Maybe it was 2022, lost it, and then announced that she was seeking to basically take Kyrsten Sinema's seat in the Arizona Senate. Kyrsten Sinema, of course, contrarian Democrat who eventually became an independent and was so unpopular that she decided not to seek re-election. So this is the context. Kari Lake speaks at a Trump rally and apparently also took way too long. So on the teleprompter, it cut off. It gave her a negative, like she was like negative 4 minutes and 53 seconds over her allotted time. And somebody on Trump's behalf in charge of the teleprompter said, wrap ASAP, Colton. And then here, if you could tell, then it's, please get off the stage. Then again, please get off stage. Trump is waiting. So once again, Donald Trump is having real frustration, real challenges with MAGA supporters who are taking entirely too much of his spotlight, of his sunshine. Again, wrap ASAP. Please get off stage. Please get off stage. Trump is waiting. We unfortunately don't have a clip of Trump reacting to Kari Lake taking as long as she did, but I imagine he was quite annoyed. You saw the look on his face when he was speaking to the officer. I can't imagine how he was off stage staring at Kari Lake taking too long at the lectern. But that does bring us to the situation in Arizona. Arizona is a state that we really need to win. It's a swing state. It's also crucial to Democrats maintaining control of the Senate. Remember, Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, someone whom I dislike immensely, someone who's much too centrist and moderate for my liking, but is a Democrat and was reliable for most, not all, but most of the Biden-Harris agenda. For example, even not only the American Rescue Plan, but the CHIPS Act, the PACT Act, things like that. Well, he's announcing that he's no longer seeking re-election, right? And that's West Virginia, perhaps the reddest state in the country. There's no way that a Democrat will take his seat. Jim Justice, a Republican governor, former governor of West Virginia, will become the new senator. He's a Republican. We don't have much by way of margin for error. Kyrsten Sinema, as I said, is not seeking re-election. So Ruben Gallego, her challenger, the Democratic nominee seeking to take her seat, since she's not seeking re-election, will have to defeat Kari Lake. And Donald Trump weighed in on that race. And this is what he had to say about Ruben Gallego, the Democratic nominee for Senate in Arizona.
He shouldn't be allowed to even run in this election against her because Kari Lake is incredible. She's incredible.
So again, it's so interesting to me that, MAGA Republicans want to complain about the notion of coups. They say that, Democrats initiated a coup against President Biden because President Biden dropped out of the race. Of course, it's nonsense. President Biden was not required to stay in the race. He was free to exercise his decision to drop out, and people were free to privately and publicly pressure him to do so. There were no laws broken, no violation of ethics. It's a perfectly fair process. And yet, every time Donald Trump runs for office, he did this in 2016, he did it in 2020, he's done it in 2024, and now in 2024, he's also saying it about other Republicans and Democrats. He says that Democrats shouldn't be allowed to run. He said it against Hillary Clinton, about Hillary Clinton in 2016. He said it about Joe Biden in 2020. He said it about Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024. And now he's saying that Ruben Gallego, the Democratic nominee for Senate, not only should he lose, which is fine, you have that opinion, but he shouldn't be allowed to run? Based on what? Kari Lake is so wonderful. It's really stupid and just goes to show how impulsively, reflexively authoritarian Trump and MAGA are, that they not only think they should win, which again is fine, they think that they should be permitted to run unopposed, that it should be disallowed for the opposition to challenge them. There shouldn't be opposition. It should be forbidden to oppose them. That's Donald Trump's mentality. That's Kari Lake's mentality. That's the MAGA Republican mentality. Unfortunately for Trump, though the election isn't right now, Kari Lake is losing this election in Arizona. Recent polls have Gallego up by 5, by 9, by 8, by 2, by 11, by 8, by 9. It's been a while since we have seen a poll in which Kari Lake is truly competitive, or let alone up. She also recently recently agreed after dithering that she would debate Ruben Gallego for the Senate, which is good. And I should say, Kari Lake isn't stupid. Marjorie Taylor Greene's really dumb. Kari Lake is not stupid. Kari Lake is a trained media personality. She was a journalist in Arizona for years. So she has media training. She has media savvy. As a matter of fact, it's hard for me to tell. I call her a MAGA cultist, but she just may be doing a hell of an impression of a MAGA cultist for purely cynical reasons. I don't know if she's a true believer or not. I know she does one hell of an impression of a true believer. So she may do very well in the debate, certainly on presentation. Now, obviously, when it comes to substance, she's no match for Gallego, but it also says something that she waited so long to agree to the debate. You would think that, again, a trained media personality who loves the camera. My God, she loves the camera and the crowd so much that she goes 5-6 minutes over her allotted time, and you have MAGA Republicans on Trump's campaign begging her to leave the stage. They were 30 seconds away from getting one of those giant canes that they used to do in vaudeville movies and yank her off stage. And yet she's hesitant. She's nervous about having her views challenged and scrutinized in a debate with a Democratic nominee. Very interesting. The whole thing is fascinating. Again, we gotta get Arizona. We have to keep Arizona in the Democratic caucus. Gallego right now is out fundraising Kari Lake. He's out polling Kari Lake, but that may change. But right now, so far, things are looking good for us. I just thought it would be really funny. Given the context, to point out that MAGA Republicans really are stepping on Donald Trump's toes, so to speak. They are stepping too much, too often, and for too long in his limelight, in his spotlight. He cannot abide that. And it seems to betray a desperation between him and them. Interesting stuff. And in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.